welcome to another video from oorail. In this video we're going to be taking a look at our new storage system that we built here in the new section of the layout. I needed some storage over here, and so I had already got quite a bit of storage over underneath the old part of the layout, but I needed more, and so I had this space here above the family workstation that has a printer and a computer. So I thought I might as well make use of it since no one else is using it. This is very cheap to put together, cost just under $40. I know lumber or timber is a little bit more expensive in the UK, but you should be able to get it for about the same price, maybe a little bit more. And so I only used three types of wood. I used some 2x4s, they're called studs, but basically there's standard timber, I think, as they're referred to in the UK. This one's 61 have been cut. I think they come in 8-foot sections for about $3. This particular section's been cut to 61 inches, and it's being used to prop up the bottom shelf, and it's basically screwed into the floor. And then we also have two bits of 2x4 that are cut. Now what's interesting is one 2x4 will actually give you the leg here, as well as one of these supports. But I had to get a second 2x4 because I needed two supports. And basically these are pretty simple. I used a tool called a stud finder that finds the thing in the wall, the studs. And here I used the Black & Decker stud finder, and it has this kind of cool laser thing with it as well. So if I turn it on, you should be able to see. So it kind of projects a laser beam up against the wall, as you can see there. And you can use that to, once you find the stud, to actually draw a level line and get all your points where you want to drill into the wall. So what I basically did was found these studs with the stud finder. There's one here, there's one over there, and what I did was I put the actually put the bottom shelf in first. So what I did was I marked off on the wall and marked off on the stud where the screws needed to go. I drilled the screw holes for the screws. I put the screws in just so they touched up against the wall, but didn't actually go through it. I used decking screws, which are a little bit longer. I think they're about 2 inch, maybe 2.5 inch. I had a bunch left of those over a couple of years ago. I installed a fence, so I had a few of these left over. And I use about 4 to 6 of them into the stud. So you just basically do the center one first, screw it into the wall, do the same thing on the other end, and then drill in the other holes, and you can secure it pretty well. So I did that to the bottom shelf. Then I took these plywood, sorry, not plywood, they're pine boards. These are the most expensive thing I had to buy. They're about $14, just under $14 each, and they're a foot wide by 6 foot long. Now the gap that's between the door frame here and the wall is actually 5 3/4 feet. So I had to cut those a little bit just to make them fit. So it's not quite 6 foot, but it's almost 6 foot. And so what I did was once I had this one in, I basically dropped the pine wood plank in here and just screwed it into the top of the 2x4 that's mounted on the wall. And once that was secured, I went ahead and did the same thing on the top. So I secured this to the wall, used a laser level to find the points in the stud finder. You got to make sure that these go into the studs. If they don't go into the studs, it's not secured to the wall, and what's going to happen is it's going to fall out. I'd highly recommend against using the plastic things you can put into the wall. Can't remember what they're called now. But those will pull out with the weight. You really have to find the studs. So once you find the studs, you can secure those in pretty easily. And that was basically it. So did the same thing. Dropped the pine wood plank in, screwed in about 8 to 12 screws. And the screws I used for that were these metal flathead, flat Phillips wood screws. These are hash 8. They're 1 3/4 inches. I think the hash 8 is the size of the head, and 1 3/4 inches is the length of the screw. You can see there they're pretty standard metal screws, and they work pretty well. And so once that was in, obviously we didn't want the locomotives crawling off the edge there. So what I used was two of these very handy pine wood boards. They're not very expensive. They run about $1.88 I think per board, and they're 0.75 inch by 1.5 inch by 4 foot. And you can see here I got 1 and 2 full ones in. Used the other one to cut the 2 end bits, this piece here, and I had enough left over to build these 2 supports as well that are screwed in. So these are screwed in from the top and bottom. And just a quick shout out to Mark at Western Centurion. I used one of those battery powered Black & Decker drills that you despise. Thought it'd be kind of funny. Thought you might find the funny side of that. I've actually had this for quite a while. I have replaced the battery pack. There's a newer battery pack you can get, and it seems to work pretty well. I also replaced the charger, and it's pretty cool. Nice things I like about these drills is that you can just pop that off, and then you have the screw bit in there. So as long as it's charged, you can do that. And I did all the screw holes, all drill holes with this, and it's still got plenty of charge left. So what you do is you just basically screw the pilot hole and then pop it off, drop the screw in place, and then screw it in. So pretty easy. And that's basically it. So like I said, cost just under $40 to do the whole thing. I've got these kind of secured bits here on the edge so that the locomotives won't go over the side. And I can show you here, I got a Class 03 shunter. And if I put it there, you can see it's not going to go over the edge. And likewise up on the side here, it's about 3/4 of the way up. So no matter what kind of shenanigans go on, this isn't going anywhere. So it's all good. So what I'm going to do next is actually start putting the locos on it, and then what you'll see here in a few minutes is how it looks. And I'll also take a couple of shots from sitting on the top and the bottom so you can get a kind of better look for kind of idea of the size as well. Alright, so hopefully you guys found this useful. It's a very cheap way to do storage. And if you obviously have more wall space, you could do a couple of these or even add more. Actually probably could have put another one in here. In between the two, I think there's probably enough space. I probably would lose some shelving space if I did that, so I kind of went with keeping them about this distance. But if you did want to do more, you can measure up the height of the loco, give a bit of a gap, and then put in the 2x4 and then go a little higher, and obviously make these a little bit longer. But I didn't need that much storage space because I have a lot of storage space on the layout and under the layout already, so I thought this would work pretty well. Alright, so I got a ton of stuff I need to move. So I'm going to start moving stuff, and we'll give you a couple of shots, like I said, and I hope you found it useful. Okay, so this is the bottom shelf, and I just thought I'd give you an idea of how much space these shelves have. Here's the Bachmann Class 03 shunter, and now I could possibly put track in here. I could get probably quite a few sets of track across here. I'm not going to put track on it. There's no real need to do it. Just don't really need to put grooves in this either. I know the IC82 had that pretty cool video where you put grooves in. My only concern with that is that if you wiggled it around or whatnot, you could actually probably knock the kind of the wheel distances on the axle out, or you could actually damage the wheels or some of the work or the piston rods on the steam locomotives. So I'm not quite sure putting the grooves in is such a good idea. Putting track on it might be not a bad idea, but you're not really going to damage it. Putting it on the surface of the board. Now if someone tells you otherwise, you know what, if you put this on a rail, the rail is still going to be like a solid surface across the wheels, so it doesn't make any sense. You can certainly just set it here on the shelf without any problems. Alright, so I'm going to show you the top shelf, and then I'm going to start loading locos, and we'll show you the end result. Okay, so this is the top shelf, and you can see here I put the Class 03 again so you can get a better idea. And if you have noticed, I have actually made this rim here just a little bit higher on this section for safety purposes. It's not going anywhere, so it should be good to go. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to start loading up locos, and you guys can see what the end result look like in a few minutes. Okay, so I've loaded up the bottom shelf with a bunch of locos. Basically, I was able to get a row of 7 locos in here, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It turned out that I could fit approximately 5 pendolino cars in length from one end to the other, with maybe about 2 inches spare at the end. So basically packed it all in, and it's looking pretty good. So I've got to go someplace in the morning very early, so I'm going to call it a night. But when I get back, what I'm going to do is on the upper shelf I will populate it with about 12 steam locomotives that are still sitting on the layout. So we'll put those along the back of this top shelf, and then I've got a big box of unopened Dapol and various Hornby and Bachmann freight, and so I'm going to unpack all of those and stick them on the top shelf so I can get using those pretty soon. Alright, so that's it for this video. I'll leave it with a long angle shot of this in just a second, but hopefully you enjoyed it and found it useful. And like I said, we knocked this together for just under $40, and it's given me almost my entire layout back, which is fantastic. Alright, so hope you enjoyed it, and until next time.